Shalom, giving all praise to Yahawah, Qadash. Shalom to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect out there. Shalom to you all. I'm going to entitle this video, Seek ye out the book of Yahawah and read. That's from Isaiah 34. And I'll read that. So I clicked on this video, V Bennett, and they're talking about, the title is the son or Zion Lex Warren, the mom of the child. Plus diverse topics. So let's see. This is almost 3.5 hours into the video. So I start right here. This is a sister that called in, saying, "What do we follow, the Bible or Kemetic?" So let's see. I may have to move it around. Let's see.
Yeah, exactly. You see, so once again, flip-flopping, and that's not good enough. That doesn't do it. You see what I mean? And all that does is leave you in the exact same place that you found yourself in when you have this kind of flip-flopping. This is not clear leadership. This is not decisive resolve. It's just like, come on, Anyway, anybody want to comment on that? Who else want to say something?
Yeah. I have a question. Okay, so
it's coming right now. Sister called in, or she's on the panel or whatever. The what do you call it? She's on the. I guess she's on the panel, or she called in.
1 minute he's talking about being Kemetic, and then the next minute he's reading out of the Bible. Okay, so which one are we supposed to? I mean, which one are we supposed to be listening to? Is it what the biblical narrative says, or are we supposed to be going by Kemetic stuff? I mean, is he just muddying the waters so it can sound good from both sides? I'm confused.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm definitely confused. Go ahead.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter if we wear burqas. They don't care what we wear. It's just to get what you have. Get what you have. I mean, I don't think it matters. But
so you didn't have to have no more. I may let you hear a little bit more. Okay, you see. This is Zion Lex. This is the woman that testified for a daughter. This is the daughter right here. And anytime I saw the daughter with the mother dressed very scantily dressed, and she had the daughter dressed very scantily. There was a video where they're walking somewhere. They say that they're coming out of Mayweather's strip club, which Mayweather should be ashamed of his damn self, because that features black women shaking their asses, and this guy's a billionaire, and that shows you the lack of self-esteem for our women. So the video, if somebody can find it. If I look for it, I can find it. But they're walking. It's a woman right here, the other 3 or 4 wives that he had, and the daughter of this woman. And they're all scantily dressed, including this one. So you mean to tell me she didn't notice? And I believe this is the hand of Polite. She didn't notice that the way this guy was looking. If you go, hey, look, if you got friends over at your house and your wife is there, there's a guy that might look at your woman or whatever, and he might look at your woman a little too long, and you already can perceive this guy's trying to, got thoughts about my woman. So she didn't see that. Where was her motherly instincts? And the plea was about get money, because she's going to get immediately 5,000 and upon his release he's going to get another 25,000. So she said, well, we made this agreement, and then he's not going to have a record where he's a sexual predator. So, but he's done anyway. He's not coming out because of the destruction is going to come inside the 7 years. I can't see this place going another 7 years. And if he does come out, he's dead meat. So this is the girl, and she's a little. Look, you got a man that looks at a young girl that's 13. She's coming. She realizes, well, she's like 2.5 years into her puberty. So she notices that she already had a period. I'm pretty sure her mother sat down and told her why she got a period. She saw movies. And I hope that scene where Polite is walking with these women scantily dressed. I hope they're not. Well, I don't know what the hell just happened, but all right, here we go. I don't know if this thing stopped and then started back up. Maybe this is two-parter. I don't know. I don't know what just happened. But anyway, so let's come back a little bit. Let's hear this again. Let's hear this again.
This is not clear leadership. This is not decisive resolution, resolve. It's just like, come on, Anyway, anybody want to comment on that? Who else want to say something?
I have a question. Okay, so 1 minute he's talking about being comedic, and then the next minute he's reading out of the Bible. Okay, so which one are we supposed to? I mean, which one are we supposed to be listening to? Is it what the biblical narrative says, or are we supposed to be going by comedic stuff? I mean, is he just muddying the waters so it can sound good from both sides? I'm confused.
That's what happens when you got Captain Zarak. He's always involved in these conversations, so that's pretty much muddying the waters. In other words, because it puts you in that list where you can pick and choose. If I was ever coming to the show, I said the scriptures is the only way. And if they bring up the comedic, I said, well, I don't believe in the comedic. And the main thing I would do is what makes a Bible, what makes a Bible the superior book? One word: prophecies. There's no prophecies in these comedic books because you can ask them questions that said, why are we a greater people? Yeah, we're greater than the white man. We're greater than any nation on the planet Earth. So why are we on the bottom and why is the white man on the top? If we're greater, according to your comedic information, your comedic knowledge, why are we on the bottom and this man's on the top? And where's the white man mentioned in the Bible? And if there's prophecies in your book, where does it say that this person that's a pale man is going to take us over? There's no prophecies in the book. Why would you follow a book with no prophecies? The scriptures are filled up, with a chock full of prophecies, man. So, he's in betwixt two thoughts, whether to be comedic or whether to follow the Bible. Because every time they have a discussion, they always got to put the Bible in there, or you got to have the Hebrew Israelite. Because if they just talk that comedic nonsense, ain't nobody gonna listen to them, man. So they need rivalries, WWE style. So anyway, y'all heard that. I don't know where I'm gonna go with this. I don't know how long this is gonna be, but let's go to that particular precept. I didn't plan nothing, so let's go. Okay. Yeah, and I'm gonna say this: GMS is the #1 premier group on the planet when it comes to the truth, being an Israelite and so forth. There's no leaven in our doctrine. You got these other camps, IUICI, CPK, Sakari, all these different camps. They have leaven, some form of leaven in their doctrine because they don't deal with the whole book. They take things out and they add things in. I mean, they hit a lot of good points. They say to Israelite, which is good, but you got to teach the whole truth. You got to eat the whole roll and then go out and teach the house of the sons of Israel. And the main thing that our focus is on is prophecy, because prophecies are taking place. So the scriptures say, "A little leaven leaveneth the whole lump." Let me do this. The whole lump. Okay, let's see what comes up. This truth has to be unadulterated. Okay, your glorying is not good. Know ye not that a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. Galatians, that's 1 Corinthians 5, verse 6. Galatians 5, verse 9. A little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. So this is what we're going to do. How am I going to do this? You know what? Yeah, let's go into the word leaven. If you ever made bread, like I used to make pizzas from scratch, so you get the all-purpose, organic dough or whatever, flour. Very simple. You would take you take water, and you don't have to measure nothing. You just do it by hand. You feel it. As Ariel would say, you feel it. Anyway, you would make like a mountain of flour. You put some water in there, warm water, not hot, not cold, but warm water, and you would knead it. Then you may need a little bit more water. Then you knead it, and then you would put. I'm sorry. In that water, you would put the yeast in it, which are live. How can I say? Leaven is alive. Okay, it eats the. Sometimes you put a little sugar in there, so it eats the sugar, and it expands the. What makes dough is the leaven. So you take a mountain of flour, you take the water with the leaven in it or the yeast in it, which is alive. May put a little bit of sugar, but it's got to be, if it's hot water, it's going to kill the yeast. Keep kneading it, and it's a ball. It's about the size of maybe a softball. You take a bowl, you put it in the bowl, you put in a damp towel on top of this. I did this. And you let it sit. Some people in the refrigerator, some people leave it out, room temperature. Come back about an hour later, and that's softball size wad of dough maybe become 4 times the size of that. What was that? It was the leavening agent. So now you can't say, well, I don't want leaven in my dough. There's no way you can take it out because it's a part of the DNA of the dough, so to speak. So if you have a little leaven, if you say everything's right in the scriptures. If you say my grandmother's an Edomite, Edomites can make it because you want your grandmother to get in. That's a little leaven. That means everything that you teach is off. It's off. So let's look up the word leaven. Because what Sarnetta is doing is just mixing comedic, bullshit with the scriptures. And he's always bringing up the scriptures. And the big question is, among these jakes with all these different ways of life and philosophies and this and that, when that charagma, that's going to be the game changer. When they set up the charagma, which most camps don't teach correctly, the GMS teaches correctly, Men of Valors teaches correctly, Sakari teaches it correctly. These other major groups, IUIC does not teach it correctly. ISUPK does not teach it correctly. And there's many other groups out there. And you got Priest Danyala, he's questioned it. He's, questioned it. It's part of it. It's this. No, it ain't part of it. It's that. The charagma itself is not part of anything. It's the thing. But in a way you can say it is, because you got to set up these cities. You notice there's construction all over you go, everywhere you go, there's construction. They're digging up the grounds. You look at the telephone poles, you got those funny looking beehive black boxes, which that's your 5G. And they could have told people that. That's why they well, I'm not going to go all into it, but they're setting up the infrastructure for these 15, 20-minute cities. That's why you notice you have like maybe a BJ's, a Target, and you have one target over here, then you got maybe another target, maybe 20 minutes away, because they're going to set up these 15, 20-minute cities. So you don't got to go to the target 10 miles from there. You can go to the, I'm sorry, 30 minutes from here. You can go to the target that's within your region. And Jake don't know that. Let me do this. Okay, let me let it sound off.
Strong's G 5445.
Furama. From a prolonged form of furrow, to mix a liquid with a solid. Yeah, that's your flour with your water, and there's yeast in the water. Perhaps akin to to the idea of swelling in bulk, mean to knead. Didn't I just explain that? Any substance mixed with water and kneaded, a mass, a lump of dough of clay. And I explained that. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this here. Your glorying is not good. Know ye not that a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. So, you got General Nathaniel, Bishop Nathaniel, whatever he chooses to call himself that day. He's going around other continents and he's glorying in himself. I'm doing more than all you guys. You guys ain't going to other countries. Most I didn't say go to other countries. It says you teach or prophesy, Acts 1, from Jerusalem to Yahawadah, to Samaria, and to the uttermost part of the earth. Singular, uttermost part of the earth. That's the Americas. Didn't say go to Africa. We don't got to go to Africa. So he's coming up with his own thing. So that's clearly leaven. And the fact that he's saying anytime we make a video on the charagma, he's going to make a counter video to that. So he's really being wicked. He's not examining himself, and he's not examining what we're saying. And he's not considering maybe they're right. He's not considering that. So that kingdom that he got is going to fall if he doesn't repent. So now let's go to where is it? Yeah, I was watching the video that Manat Zakba had put up. The famous Manat Zakba had put up a GMS was it South Carolina, North Carolina, South Carolina, 08. And what was he saying? Oh, he was going into a topic on certain men. And there's a couple of guys that left the Wi-Fi over the subject of the charagma. The Lord is not dealing with the Wi-Fi, period. They have a zeal for the Most High, but not according to knowledge. So the Wi-Fi is going to become no more. The leader is too young. He's a young man. He's a kid. You know what this says about a novice? Let's go to Cambridge, Bible for Schools and Colleges. Your glory is not good. Rather, that state of things of which you glory is not good. The word here translated glorying signifies that whereof a man glories, and is so translated in Romans 4:2. For if Abraham were justified by works, he has a wherefore to glory, but not before the Most High. 1 Corinthians 9:15-16. But I have used none of these things, and neither have I written these things. Now, this was over, read a couple of verses above that. Paul is saying that you were supposed to help me financially. And they had a problem with it. So Paul said, oh, well, keep your damn money. I'm going to teach you any damn way. And besides, the church of, what was that, Macedon had helped me financial-wise. I've written these things that it should be so done to me, for it were better for me to die than that any man should make my glory void. So he said, y'all are listening, but y'all have got a problem with helping me out financially, but I'm going to teach you clowns anyway. That was the hardest church that he had to deal with, the Israelites in Corinth, because they came out of that Greek Hellenist nonsense. That's why he told them about men having long hair, because as I said in previous videos, they were Hellenized. So the custom of the young men that were Hellenized had long hairs. He normally put it in braids and locks. So they wanted to keep that fashion or custom, even though they came into Israel. It says, as also you have acknowledged us in part, that we are your rejoicings, even as you also are ours in the day of the Lord Yahawashi. Okay, that was 2 Corinthians 1, verse 14. Okay. 2 Corinthians 5, verse 12. See what that says? For we command not ourselves again to you, but give you occasion to glory on our behalf, that you may have somewhat to answer them which glory in appearance and not heart. Yet it goes into the outside thing. You know, you dress, you got your crispy garments on, but you're teaching a bunch of lies. Let's go to one more. 2 Corinthians 9, verse 3. Yet have I sent the brothers, lest our boasting of you should be in vain. This behalf, that is, I said, you may be ready. Okay, so let me read this. Where the same word is used, but is variously translated in our version. The Corinthians are once more reminded how little cause they had for self-glorification. The glorification is going to, in our glory we shall boast ourselves. Merely paraphrasing Isaiah 61. It says self-glorification. The self-glorification comes in the kingdom. You ain't gonna see me riding in on a horse with girls with feathers in their hand dancing. This guy's in his own movie. He's a legend in his own mind. I'm talking about Bishop Nate, a legend in his own mind, teaching a botched gospel. As because we haven't changed we kept the same energy, man, about the charagma. We haven't changed it at all. We kept it. So when it comes, that's when it's going to be a game changer. That's when the camps are going to get shaken up. And a lot more than Wi-Fi guys, when it actually comes, and you want to keep your job, you want to get something to eat, you got to get a charagma. That's when you're going to start scrambling. As long as they permitted such an offender to defile their society, they were a community they were in a measure partakers of his sin. Now, sin is to teach the scriptures the wrong way. Another sin is to take away the scriptures and add to the scriptures. Meaning, if you take something out of the scriptures, you got to put something in there. So what are you doing? You're doing two things. You're taking away from the scriptures and you're adding to the scriptures. It says if you add to the scriptures, you're going to be added to the lake of fire, which the lake of fire is a U.S. on fire from a bird's eye view, from schematic, from an aerial view. That's what John saw. The angel took him up, let him look down and see this lake of fire, and that was the U.S. Now you got Bishop Nate saying that, oh, that's talking about eternal damnation, that you even the Israelites are going to burn in hell forever. He's waxing worse and worse, and the Most High is going to do something to him. A little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. The presence of a very small amount of evil. Ooh, didn't I mention the leaven? I said the presence of a very small amount of evil. You say the Edomites make it because your grandmother on your mother's side is an Edomite, so you're going to start teaching Edomites can make it and the sake of your grandmother. The presence of a very small amount of evil. You go off on one point. That's why you got to search the scriptures daily. In the Christian society, the Israelite society, imparts a character to the whole book. You taint the book, the whole book is tainted. A truth only to folly exemplified, because that's folly. He knows that he's going off because we here have broke it down correctly. Priest Danyala. Now, I don't know what his stance is. I didn't see the movie, but if he's teaching contrary to what we're teaching, not saying, if somebody says, well, what is the mark? What is the charagma? If he doesn't say it's the actual C-hip, then he's a part of that folly. That's leaven. That's leaven. Folly exempt to a truth only to folly exemplified in the after history of the Christian church or the Israelite community, from the evil that has crept in. The lake of fire is an eternal damnation that you're going to burn. All the Israelites are going to sleep. The 2/3 are going to sleep for 1,000 years. Then when they wake up, they're going to be dumped into the lake of fire. So that was, he crept it in there. Remember what Jude said, some men unaware, crept in unawares. Into the what? Into the Israelite community, men have taken occasion to deny its divine origins. You're disrespecting the book. The student of history will remember how this dexterously Gibbon contrives, that's his name, to throw discredit upon Israelism, let's use that word, by enlarging upon the shortcomings of the early church, which are Israelites. The church and the Israelites in the wilderness were known as the church. That's in Acts, I believe it's Acts 7. I think it's Acts 7, around about the 40 some odd verse. And by evading the comparison between its moral elevation and the shocking demoralization of heathen society, because the heathen society was Jake. We were pulling Jake out of heathen society to come to the realization that the Israelites. The same words are to be found in Galatians 5, verse 9. Let's see what that says. A little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. So now let's come back to the blue letter. Let me look up the word leaven again. 11. So I think I clicked on lump. Yeah, lump is when you mix things together. So this is leaven. This is leaven.
Strong's G 2219. Zume. Zume.
Zume, the D is silent. Zume means leaven, metaphorically of inveterate mental and moral corruption, viewed in its tendency to infect others. So you teaching this lie, you got this lie, and you're teaching it to others, and you're infecting them of inveterate mental and moral corruption, viewed in its tendency to infect others. In what? In the mind. Scripture said, let every man be fully persuaded in his mind. Leaven is applied to that substance which is small in quantity, yet thoroughly pervades a thing by its influence. So Bishop Nathan, you said something, this, the lake of fire is in eternal hell, and all these guys that are under him, because there's no leadership. There's only one leader. You got the leader, and then you got the followers. Yahawah is not a leader. He's a follower. Bishop Kanai is not a leader. He's a follower. And Bishop Nathaniel proved that by coming on a horse. Why didn't they worth millions of dollars? You mean to tell me they couldn't get 3 horses? They said, I'm the number one, I'm the king of this thing. So he said, he makes a statement and they just follow it. They might question in the beginning. After he talks to them for a while, he corrupts their mind. I'm gonna look up the word corrupt or corruption. It says leaven is applied to, like I said, the MOTB is sin in all of its form. All of its forms is leaven. Edomites can make it, although he doesn't teach that, but he does teach that you got to love an Edomite. That's leaven. What else does he teach? Friday sundown to Saturday sundown is the Sabbath. That's leaven. The new moon is a full moon. That's leaven. You can only have one woman. If you have another woman, that's fornication. That's leaven. So we can give you a whole laundry list of the things that he's going off on. But is his blind followers gonna see it? No, because they get approval from this guy. You know when they'll see it? If he says, you know what? The Spirit came to me in a dream and showed me that the charagma is the sea hip. Guess what? They'll all magically get it. They'll all magically see it. So he's the Pied Piper of wickedness. The Pied Piper of lies. And that's why I call you guys zombies. You get mad at the fact, but that's what zombies do. They got the zombie master, Baron Samedius himself, say this means this and that means that. They don't question it, like they follow it. Remember, I always bring this up. The Apostle Paul praised the church of Berea because they double-checked what Paul said. He honored them more than he honored the church of Thessalonica. So it says here, leaven, I'm reading right from here. Leaven is applied to that substance which is small in quantity, right? That's the bag of yeast, yet thoroughly pervades a thing by its influence. The NT, the New Testament, uses it in both a positive or negative sense. Yes, that's true, because we're going to tell you something and the influence goes around. This is what it means. This is what it means. This is what it means. It says a little leaven, leaveneth the whole lump. Anyway, let me see. Anyway, to answer that sister's question on that video about Sarnetta, the book that you're supposed to be going by is the scriptures, because the scriptures is the only book. That's why it cannot be compared to any other book. I want to go into that. Matter of fact, let me come over here. Where am I? Come back over here, and I want to go to Isaiah 34, verse 16. Seek ye out the book of the Lord or Yahawah, and read. None of these shall fail, none shall want her mate. For my mouth it has commanded, and his spirit it hath gathered them. And I may read the next verse after that. Cambridge Bible for Schools and Colleges. The verse is remarkable in several respects. It seems to be a solemn assurance that the foregone prediction or predictions shall be fulfilled literally and done to the smallest details. Yes, talking about that what Isaiah saw when you start from the first verse of Isaiah 34. But that applies to every book, every prophet. And must therefore be addressed to a future generation of readers. Right, we're that future generation of leaders. Isaiah 34, since we're talking about that particular chapter, is getting ready to come to pass. But guess what? Jeremiah 49, Jeremiah 50, there I go. Obadiah, Joel, all those scriptures. Matthew 24, Luke 21, Mark 13, Revelation, the whole book. This implies a view of the scope and functions of what? Of prophecy, which is not that of the older prophets. Right. What is that? Isaiah 40, is it 42 and 9? It's a combination, 42 and 9 and 46 and 10. It speaks about the prophecies, that the old prophecies came and went. Now there's new prophecies. So the charagma is a new prophecy, and we did it. We got it right. Further, the expression "Book of Yahawah" appears to point to the existence of a prophetic canon, and the opening exhortation presupposes a habit of searching for evidence of the fulfillment of prophecy. So we see Habakkuk 2 speaks about it. It shall not tarry, it shall surely come. Meaning, you got to look, you got to watch news. You got to look around you. You got to see what's going on. The last time I went to the Whole Foods, I went up 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks before that. That hand scanner wasn't there. Lo and behold, 3.5, not even a month later, the hand scanner was there. So I'm observing stuff around me. All these circumstances would indicate a late date for the composition of this oracle or word. Some commentators, however, have sought to evade the interpretation by amending the text with the help of the LXX, which is the what is that? The damn, I can't even think of it. The Septuagint, which means 70. LXX, if you know Roman numerals, it means 70. Reading according to, because sometimes they'll read from the scripture, then they'll go to the Septuagint, and they'll say, see, like GOCC, this demon the head of GOCC, he's saying that the Edomites are not going to be done away with, because if you go to not to Josephus, if you go to the Septuagint, it doesn't say that. So Yahawah Shem Yahawashi is going to destroy him and scatter his followers. According to their number, Yahawah calls them, but the received text excites no suspicion. The book of the Lord, the immediate reference must be to the present prophecy, right? The prophecy of Isaiah 34, which that Isaiah 34 verse 16, that could be, you can filter all the prophecies through that book. It is talking about the book of Isaiah, just like the book of Revelation. When it says, add not to the book, neither take away from the book, it's talking about the book of Revelation, but it applies to any part of the Bible, any part of the scriptures, because the book of Revelation is a part of a bigger book, which is the scriptures. So you can't say, oh, well, that's just talking about taking anything away from the book of Revelation. Okay, you keep teaching that nonsense. The immediate reference must be to the present prophecy, since there is no other which speaks of the desert creatures. Well, that's in Isaiah 13. That's in other parts of the Bible, speaks about the desert creatures that are to possess the land of, to possess the land of Edom. Because this right now, this is really spiritual Sodom and Egypt, but this is also the land of Edom, the new land of Edom. This is not America. This is the land of Edom. And they know, and these scholars know who the Edomites are. But the phrase is to pregnant to be used of a detached oracle. In other words, you're going to separate it from the other books. We must therefore conclude that it was destined to be incorporated in a collection of sacred writings. So Isaiah 34 is part of the whole book of Isaiah. The book of Isaiah is a part of the whole scriptures, just like the book of Revelation is. So Deacon Akar made a statement. Somebody asked him a question about the long hair in 1 Corinthians 11. And he said, well, that only applies. I remember when he said it. I was watching when he said it. He said, well, that only applies to the people of the church of Corinth. It didn't apply to any other church. I'm putting words in his mouth, but that's pretty much what he said. So Paul said, I don't like you guys in Corinth got long hair. Got to cut your hair off. It's a shame. He goes to Ephesus. They got long hair. He ain't saying that. No. When he said long hair is a shame for a man to have long hair, it applied to all them churches, man. It says the change of person is harsh. Read either his mouth or better, the mouth of Yahawah. Let me read this part again. The book of the Lord, the immediate reference must be to the present prophecy, right? Isaiah 34. But all prophetic scriptures are filtered through Isaiah 34 and 16, because what he prophesied, all the other prophets saw the same thing, including Daniel, including John on the Isle of Patmos. Let me see. Since there is no other which speaks of the desert creatures, and another thing, General Nathaniel, he said, he told to the bishop in South Africa, he said that the U.S. is going to be on fire forever. The smoke is never going to end. Well, how are you going to get a desert with there's smoke around it? The smoke is going to dissipate, and then what's going to be left is a desert. That's why in Isaiah 34 it speaks about the line of confusion. You can't say, well, Jersey used to be over here and New York used to be. It's just going to be desert. The elements shall melt with fervent heat. It says, speaks of the desert creatures that are to possess the land of Edom. All right. Now we know that this prophecy, Isaiah 34, has yet to take place, because if it took place, you would have a documentary saying, well, this is the land that was destroyed, the land of Edom. And as you can see these Komodo dragons and these hawks and these desert-like creatures in here. So this is the place that was the fulfillment of Isaiah 34. It says, but the phrase is too pregnant to be used of a detached oracle. In other words, this is a separate book. No, this goes with the whole book. We must therefore conclude that it was destined to be incorporated. What does the word incorporated mean? In a collection: Jeremiah, Isaiah, Ezekiel, Joel, Obadiah, Zechariah. How you living? Inside joke. Matthews, Mark, Luke, and John, because there's prophecies in that. 1 Peter, 2 Peter, the book of Revelation, and so forth and so on. It says pregnant to be used of a detached oracle. We must therefore conclude that it was destined to be incorporated. What does the word incorporated mean? Put together, in lack of a better word. In a collection. What's a collection? Genesis, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel, 1 Kings, 2 Kings, which is the law, the prophets. Psalms is the writings, and then the prophets, Ezekiel, Isaiah, and so forth. So most of the time we're going into prophecies because the prophecies are coming to pass, to be incorporated in the collection of sacred writings. The collection of sacred writings is in one book, which is the scriptures, and the Apocrypha is part of it. It says the chains of person is harsh. Read either his mouth or better, the mouth of Yahawah. Now, you know what I'm going to do? Let me do this. Making this long, but that's all right. And after, and he hath cast a lot of them, and his hand hath divided by them by line. They shall possess it forever. The Israelites shall possess it, starting with the prophets, the elect, from generation to generation. A generation is when people live, they have children, that's the next generation. Those people grow up, they become adults, they have children, that's another generation. So you, your father, your grandfather, your great-great-grandfather, your great-grandfather, your great-great-grandfather, your great-great-great-great-grandfather, that's how many, that's almost 10 generations. Going back to the gene. From generation to generation shall they dwell therein. So we're going to always deal with the scriptures. That's why Esau is trying to separate us from the scriptures. Oh, you're not the people. We are the people. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom.